Okay, so these were last week's setup that I had plotted and had decided to trade, but there were a few reasons why I got off the trade early, but this is how it went. So for USD CHF, um, I was looking for a buy in this zone because look, there's this area right here which I was eyeing, and 2 weeks ago I posted a trade about a sell. It was around here, like there were two entry points around here and around here. So the first TP was around this area because of this zone, and since then it has retraced. And I was looking for a buy in this area, and the perfect opportunity was during the news. So where is the news? There, this was the news right here. So this was the news. ISM services PMI, where USD actually came out positive, which means that USD strengthened. So going down in the 15-minute, I had entered a USD CHF buy right before the news with a really tight SL. It was only 7 pips. And I had placed two TPs for this. So I took two trades with two different TPs. And TP1 was met around here. And actually, it eventually went to hit the take profit. But I'll tell you about the psychological challenges that kind of made me get off this trade early. So there's this trend line here. Okay, so during the news itself, the news, okay, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to hide this. So during the news itself, when the candle closed, hourly candle closed, it closed above. And what helps me recognize a fake out from a zone is when it immediately retraces back and closes inside the zone. However, this closed outside the zone, plus the coming candlesticks were also going high, so there were high highs being made. But when it started to make a lower low, yes, a lower low, that's when I started reconsidering this trade, and I ended up closing my trade around somewhere here around 906, which was my fault because I very well know that this had closed above the trend line, and the fact that it's coming back to touch this trend line is more like a retest rather than a fake out. However, I guess that was what made me get out of the trade early when I should have very well stayed in the trade because this was during NFP. There was a boost and it eventually went to my target, which was 9150. It went all the way up to 9155, and my trade target was 9150, and that would have been around object 1 to 5 pips. So that would have been a very sweet trade with minimal drawdown, and these kind of trades with such little drawdown, low risk and high return trades can be taken during newses because especially if the news is coming out at around a point that's good for a trade, like in a zone, because let's say the news comes out and it's for DXY to go down, it just goes down straight away, and like a 7 pip loss if you're managing your risk well wouldn't be a big loss. However, the returns are crazy. So for this trade, the R was 17, and these are not trades that come by every day. So this was a great setup, which unfortunately I didn't manage to write on completely, but I did take out around 1 to 2%. I think around 2% at this level. So yeah, that was for USD CHF, and then now getting to AUD USD. The trade I had for AUD USD was this. Okay, so I had two setups for AUD USD. One was, I think, when it was on this level. So I posted the idea here on 2nd August. So 2nd August was the start of the week, Monday. So it was in this channel and it was at the bottom. It was a good trade. As you can see, nicely hit TP at around, the thing didn't cover it, but on 4th August. Actually, yeah, 4th August it hit TP. And then it went higher up to the top of the channel and it started showing rejection. And this was also, again, it was at the top of the channel during a news. So the good thing about this is that you can take a trade with low risk. And this was the trade I took with see again 7 plus around 8 pips SL. And this is where the news came out, the dashed line. So I took this trade, and once it started making higher highs, I decided to close the trade. So as far as I remember, I think I took out my profits around this level, 738. But if I had let my trade run, both my TP1 and TP2 would have been hit, and these levels for the TPs were chosen because of these levels. So if you go on an hourly, you can see there's this zone here. I mark out these zones where, like, okay, let's say in a downtrend where there are wicks, that's why you want to place your profit targets. So that's why I had placed my TP1 here, and of course TP2 at the bottom of the channel. Can you see wicks? So that's why TP2 is here. And again, this would have been a great trade, 9.7 RR. But yeah, I didn't manage to ride it fully, and I'm looking for AUD USD buys again within the channel for next week. But yeah, that's for a later video. And then, so this was my second setup for the week. Actually, third. So the first one was the AUD one, which was this, and then the USD CHF, and then this. And lastly, I had a CAD JPY set up, and this was actually a sell limit. Sorry, my bad, buy limit that I had placed. So going on a 4 hour, so let me just tell you guys how I have plotted this. So on a daily, there is this head and shoulder that I'm eyeing. And again, I don't know if it will form a head and shoulder at the end of the day, but what I can see here is that there is a higher high, and it came down, and it had gone up, and now it was retracing downwards. And there was this zone here, so this zone was marked out on a smaller time frame. So basically, again, see in a trend where it's going up, where there is, like, you could say traffic, that's where I usually mark my zones. They're called supply and demand zones, as we know. And what it had done was, once it touched the zone, it retraced, and we want to look for sharp retracements when they touch zones, because these are good zones. So I had placed the buy limit, over here. Alright, and the profit target was below this area. And actually what I can see here is already an opportunity for next week because of this. So how we see head and shoulders is a higher high, and then it's rejecting the previous high zone that it had made. Not this one, but this one, which it did. So actually when market opens next week, I will be looking for sells, not only because of this head and shoulder, but also a head and shoulder on the daily itself. So let's say if I do get taken out, I might look for a re-entry here. But anyway, for last week's trade, this would have been the trade. Again, amazing trade because it has a very nice small SL, which can give us a good RR. 5 is good. Usually I look for a minimum of 3 to take a trade. 5 is great. And the other two trades, USD CHF and 17. Honestly, these kind of trades don't come by every day with so much momentum, hitting TPs really quick because of the news. They can come usually at the start of the month because of the news. So if you're on the right side of the market during these times, it's great. But obviously, other times my swing trades can take 2-3 days to hit TP, and something I'm still training myself to deal with is pullbacks and knowing how to recognize what pullback is what, because surely on higher time frames I can try to, sometimes I just want to lock in whatever profit I have, and that's my bad. But even if I go on a 4 hour, there was no like engulfing candle. Maybe I got tricked by this, but if I had just waited for this candlestick to close, I would have seen it was a clear rejection of the zone. All I have in this zone are wicks, and wicks usually symbolize, rejection of the zone. But it's a lesson for me, and yeah, so these are four setups I had for last week, which were great. And my strategy recently has been to focus on less setups, but to look for a good win rate. And this is something that worked in my favor. And yeah, I've also been eyeing more majors and cross pairs recently, so I can just focus on majors first. But I am looking at, I'll pick a cross pair to focus on usually, or maybe two. So since last week I was on CAT JPY, and I do eye an opportunity for CAT JPY already. I will be looking to trade this, probably with two TPs, because like one is this one, and one on a higher time frame, which would be this one. So let's see how many pips am I? 200 plus. Might take the week to hit it. Might hit SR. Might have to re-enter, or my bias would change to something bullish. I don't know. Let's just see when the market's open. So yeah, that's just mostly for last week's trades, and I hope to record more videos for the upcoming week.